Eskom CEO Brian Molefe suggests that another discussion has to happen before any finger-pointing begins.
The problems of CO2 emissions are not in the developing world, they are in the developed world. I think that the people that are causing a lot of CO2 emissions are known to the world. In certain instances, they have not adhered to agreements that have been reached in the past, where in fact we in the developing world have been very diligent.
The two power stations under construction in the country, Medupe and Kusile, are a case in point and are leading the charge away from old and inefficient technology.
We made Medupe what we call FGD, flue gas desulfurization ready. So that's one of the big issues of reducing sulfur levels. We are not in that position yet where we've got CCS, carbon capture and storage for those plants, but we're committed to put flue gas desulfurization, reduce the sulfurs. We obviously got low NOx burners in those plants, reducing the oxides.
One possible solution to the question of cost of compliance has been suggested and reinforced by Molefe. It's about obtaining offsets from the World Bank against capital expenditure to reach an agreed-to carbon emission reduction.
It is a debate that we must still have. It is something that I think should be considered, especially in the African continent where electrification is still low in the entire continent, and where there is in the future going to be enormous capital expenditure and capital layout for the electrification of the continent.
On a country level, the cost becomes almost impossible to budget for.
A cost curve, we've got to measure against what's affordable to the country, because if we followed a very strict regime in terms of what the legislation requires, it will run into hundreds of billions of rand, and I don't think not even Eskom nor this country can afford it. So it's a matter of not saying that we don't want to comply, it's a matter of the timing. We must be given the opportunity to actually get things in place.
Looks like there are going to be some tough conversations that are going to happen in and around the COP21 negotiations. But South Africa and the African continent's requirements of providing electricity are going to be core and key for the growth of the continent. If this doesn't happen at the expense of managing those carbon footprints, we may have a bit of a crisis on our hands. I'm Angelo Coppola for CCTV in Johannesburg.